Thanks for joining us on the CBN News Channel. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. The scandal involving CIA Director David Petraeus could expand much further than originally thought. In a new twist, the Pentagon is investigating a top U.S. commander in Afghanistan for sending emails to a woman at the center of the Petraeus story. Another top U.S. commander could go down with Petraeus. General John Allen is now under investigation for allegedly sending inappropriate emails to Jill Kelly. Kelly is the woman who prompted the investigation of Petraeus. After reporting to the FBI, she was receiving threatening emails from the woman having an affair with him. General Allen denies any wrongdoing, but U.S. officials say there are between 20 to 30,000 emails between Allen and Kelly, and new details of the Petraeus affair with Paula Broadwell continue to emerge. Agents spent hours at Broadwell's home Monday night, leaving with files, boxes, and a computer.
In his universe, this moral failing is unacceptable and renders him unworthy of continuing this position of responsibility for the nation.
And more questions today about why the FBI waited until after the election to alert the White House about the Petraeus affair. Lawmakers say the FBI was not just conducting a criminal investigation of an alleged email harassment case. It was also looking into whether a separate set of emails between Petraeus and Broadwell might involve a security breach.
It just doesn't add up that the FBI would be carrying on this type of investigation without, again, bringing it to the president or the highest levels of the White House.
The FBI is expected to present a timeline of its investigation in explanation to Congress at a meeting on Wednesday. Petraeus denies giving Broadwell any of the sensitive military information allegedly found on her computer. Authorities say extramarital affairs are particularly risky for intelligence officers because it could be used as blackmail.
A Saudi Arabian man is being sentenced today in a failed bombing plot against the U.S. Khalid al-Dosari could be sent to prison for life. The former Texas Tech University student was convicted back in June of trying to use a weapon of mass destruction. Prosecutors say he had researched possible targets, including power plants and the Dallas home of former President George W. Bush. He had also purchased chemicals needed to create bombs.
Secretary of State Hillary Clinton honors slain Ambassador Chris Stevens, labeling him a fallen hero. Stevens and 3 other Americans died in that attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya 2 months ago. Clinton praised the fallen diplomat for volunteering to serve in dangerous areas.
He also knew that when America is absent, especially from the dangerous places, there are consequences. Extremism takes root, our interests suffer, and our security at home is threatened.
Stevens was given an international award for conflict resolution and community and peace building. It was accepted by his sister, Anne.
Chris didn't shy away from high-risk assignments in violence-affected places. He eagerly served in Jerusalem and Libya during times of conflict. He thought that, particularly in such complex political circumstances, diplomacy could play a critical role by facilitating dialogue and bringing people together.
Stevens' death sparked intense partisan bickering and spawned 3 investigations, one from the State Department, one from the FBI, and another from Congress.
Citizens in 22 states are petitioning the federal government to secede from the union after President Obama's re-election. Some 157,000 people in states including Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Texas have signed on to the petitions. They have been submitted through the White House's website called We the People. Louisiana was the first state to file with more than 13,000 signatures, but some in the state say the move is nonsense.
I think it's ridiculous. Honestly, I really do. I think it's really dumb.
I still feel like it's pretty unnecessary to want to separate and make your own country away from the United States, honestly. We're a little small for that.
Meanwhile, the White House promises a response for petitions that receive more than 25,000 signatures in 30 days. Texas is the only state to reach that benchmark so far.
Gasoline rationing has ended in New Jersey, but the Northeast recovery from Superstorm Sandy is still slow. Operation Blessing is helping speed things up for residents of New York and New Jersey. These are images of volunteers at work in Rockaway Beach on Monday. They came to the rescue of a family who had no idea how to start gutting and rebuilding their home.
My mother's car, my car were totally submerged underwater. We lost those, and my apartment, all my stuff and belongings in there were destroyed. Operation Blessing was a big help, and I'm blessed that they came and helped me and my mom do this work. That it took maybe more than a couple of days to do this by myself.
Operation Blessing's aid is a comfort to many New Yorkers who are beyond frustrated that their power has yet to be restored.
In the fight over abortion, some accuse pro-lifers of just focusing on the child with no attention to the mother or what happens after birth. Now, a clinic right across from Denver's Planned Parenthood may help put that notion to rest. As Paul Strand reports, it will make its focus the women facing crisis pregnancies.
Some 15,000 to 16,000 women get abortions in Colorado during the average year, many of them right here.
For years now, the second largest abortion clinic in America has been churning out dozens of the procedures every day here in this Denver neighborhood. But now they have a competitor.
The Lighthouse Women's Center sits just across the street with its sign in full view of almost anyone heading to Planned Parenthood. It offers women an alternative to abortion, along with help for their unexpected pregnancy in the form of ultrasounds, counseling, medical care, and supplies. Monsignor Bernard Schmitz, who's prayed and protested outside Planned Parenthood, told CBN News he's overjoyed at the Lighthouse Clinic opening.
Some of the girls and the men who come here because they think it's the only alternative they have.
Lighthouse's executive director agrees the new center represents hope.
This is like last chance for gas for 1,000 miles for these girls. It's crucial because they could turn down that road, see our sign, and something could still touch their heart, even at the very last second, as they're contemplating abortion for their baby.
Nurse sonographer Paula Sewer wanted to perform ultrasounds here and make a positive impact on each pregnant woman or girl that comes through the door.
It's such a crucial time for her. There's never really a mundane day because they're really life-changing decisions, and it's an honor really to be able to be part of something like that for somebody.
Grandin says Lighthouse follows in a 2,000-year tradition of Christians fighting to save babies.
The ancient Romans would throw away the babies they didn't want. They'd put them out in the street or out in the wilderness to freeze to death, or for wild animals to kill them. But Christians observed that even 2,000 years ago, and they rescued those babies and raised them as their own. And that made such an impact on a lot of the Romans that it caused them to convert.
While Monsignor Schmitz supports the Planned Parenthood protests, he's happy that Lighthouse provides a real alternative for those contemplating abortion.
It's not just some people gathered in a corner, but there's a place where they can go. There's a place where they can be received. There's medical services there. There's honest, good people there.
And Sewer says prayer follows each visitor to Lighthouse.
Our encounter might be brief, but we don't forget them. And of course, God doesn't forget.
In these desperate times, many women may feel there's no alternative but abortion. But that's what the Lighthouse Women's Center has come to Denver to show and to prove. No woman should give up hope, and she should never give up on her baby. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Denver, Colorado.
The UPS Foundation is cutting support to the Boy Scouts over its policy of excluding gays and lesbians from being scouts or scout leaders. The foundation is the philanthropic arm of the Atlanta-based shipping giant. It gave more than $85,000 to the Boy Scouts in 2011. Now the foundation says that all groups applying for grants will have to meet the same hiring standards as UPS. The foundation made the change after an online petition protesting its grants to the Scouts garnered some 80,000 signatures.
The Mojave Desert Memorial Cross was restored in a Veterans Day ceremony. The War Memorial Cross was originally erected back in 1934, but was deemed unconstitutional several years ago. In 2010, the covered-up cross was stolen and only recently recovered by police. In April, a federal judge allowed the National Park Service to turn over the land where the original cross stood to veterans groups. Veterans decided to start over, so they erected a new 7-foot steel cross on Sunday in a ceremony attended by more than 150 people.
An Iranian Christian seeking asylum in Sweden faces deportation. Swedish officials could decide to send Reza Jabari back to Iran as soon as this week. Reza converted to Christianity while visiting Azerbaijan in 2010. He moved to Sweden and applied for asylum on grounds he would face persecution if he returned home to Iran. Swedish authorities rejected Reza's request. They questioned his conversion and said they're not convinced he faces danger back in Iran. His pastor says Reza has deep Christian identity and actively participates in street evangelism and church activities. Religious freedom advocates report that house church Christians in Iran are often arrested and imprisoned. Our viewers will remember the case of Pastor Youssef Nadarkhani, who spent 3 years in jail and narrowly escaped a death sentence. Now, to learn more about Reza's case and how you can help, visit the Global Lane blog at cbnnews.com.
Coming up, they're the defenders of our homeland, even though they don't have a home. What's being done to help homeless women vets?
I'm so glad we could be here for Larry.
I was surprised to hear there was no life insurance.
Funerals are so expensive. I hope Larry can afford it.
I know. That's why I'm glad I got a policy through the Colonial Penn program.
Do you think they have coverage for me? Something that'll fit into my budget?
Yes. You can get permanent coverage for less than 35 cents a day. You won't have to take a physical or answer any health questions. Plus, your cost will never go up and your coverage will never go down.
If you're between 50 and 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance life insurance for less than 35 cents a day. There are no health questions or medical exam. You cannot be turned down because of your health. So call about the Colonial Penn program and ask one of their representatives about a plan that meets your needs.
I'm definitely going to call about the Colonial Penn program.
Call 1-800-219-1201 for free information and a free gift. Call now.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now, and Arriva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs, and they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Arriva today. You'd be glad you did.
New figures show the number of homeless veterans is down overall, but roughly 60,000 vets remain without homes, and many of them are women.
And that is why I decided to find out what's behind this trend. And in the process, I learned what one veteran is actually doing to help. Janice Ramirez helped treat the wounds of fellow soldiers while serving in the U.S. Army. After 17 years, an injury forced her to leave the service. Once on the outside, she couldn't get a steady job, struggled to pay the rent, and it wasn't long before she had no place to call home.
I have slept wherever I could. I've slept in shelter, on the floor, in a car, an abandoned house.
After a stint in the military, Sharisha Hatchett Lewis's life became a battlefield of domestic violence. It drove her and her young son from their home.
You don't sleep well in a car, you know, not knowing who's going to come up to the car, or who's going to hurt you, or, yeah, you have to sleep with one eye open.
Homelessness was once primarily an issue among male veterans, but the issue has grown significantly in the last 10 years within the female veteran community.
It is on the rise. About 8% of veterans who are sheltered or identified as homeless are female.
Pete Daughtery oversees homeless programs for the Department of Veterans Affairs. He says female vets face a growing list of problems.
It's about a lack of employment. It's in many cases substance use or mental illness. What we know about recently returning veterans is they seem to have a much higher incidence of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Perhaps the biggest issue, not enough temporary housing.
We have about 14,000 current transitional housing beds for veterans, male and female.
The situation facing many of her fellow vets pushed Navy reservist Jackie Campbell to take action. She recently opened this home for homeless female veterans called Lady Vets Haven. Here, the women enjoy a clean and safe environment. They also receive job counseling and encouragement, all at a discounted rent rate.
There's no reason, especially, a veteran, somebody that done served our country, gave their life for our country, should have to be sleeping outside.
Dr. Priscilla Hankins is a psychiatrist at the Veterans Hospital in Hampton, Virginia. She says while female vets face the same stresses as males, they also have gender-specific issues that make them more susceptible to homelessness.
Being single parents with small children, and the domestic violence issue is a significant factor, and unemployment, all these coming together.
Military sexual trauma may also play a part. The Veterans Affairs Inspector General found that nearly a third of temporary shelters for veterans did not adequately address security risks. They included male and female residents on the same floor and insufficient locks in bedrooms and bathrooms.
About 90% of our military sexual trauma victims are females. And as you can see, that would certainly cause some challenges for women coming into a male-dominated setting to seek treatment when they have been traumatized by sexual trauma.
Daughtery says the Department of Veterans Affairs is making progress in the area of transitional housing. It is teaming with the Department of Housing and Urban Development to provide housing vouchers for veterans. This is particularly popular among women veterans. Still, vets want the VA to make their transition from the military a lot smoother.
They do give you a little bit of information on, during the exit process, but not enough for you to at least try and, become a civilian again and restabilize.
We have to do a much better job in that transition as service members are coming out.
Meanwhile, places like Lady Vets Haven is making a difference, one veteran at a time.
I walked in and I was like, wow, you really mean this is all women? It was like a blessing, like walking into a true blessing.
And to find out more about the Ministry of Lady Vets Haven, log on to our website at cbnnews.com.
Up next, an unbelievable story. A church is knocked to the ground, and not only did the police not stop it, they were the ones who helped with the demolition. You'll see why next.
Dear Bowflex, I dropped 8 dress sizes, 36 pounds, and all I had to do was walk.
This is the Bowflex Tread Climber Machine, the easiest way to walk and burn up to 3.5 times the calories. By combining the motion of a treadmill, a stepper, and an elliptical, you get the calorie-burning benefits of all 3 workouts at once.
I lost 30 pounds in 4 months. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Call now for your free DVD and information kit. You'll see how the Tread Climber burns up to 3.5 times the calories of a treadmill. Right now, you can own a Tread Climber machine today and get special financing for 18 months.
Within the first couple of weeks, I started to lose inches. I lost 50 pounds in 3 months using the Tread Climber.
I lost 150 pounds in such a short period of time. All my friends are like, how did you do it?
To look better and feel younger, call or go online to buytc.com for your free DVD and information kit today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bowflex.
Sincerely, J.D. Weber.
Friends, Pat Boone here with an important message from Swiss America. The world's money system is very unstable now, sending the price of food, gasoline, education, healthcare, almost everything higher and higher. You know, I can remember when a cup of coffee was just 5 cents. You remember that, don't you? Today, it costs $5 for the same cup of coffee. I also remember when $20 could buy this ounce of gold. Today, it costs nearly 100 times more for the same ounce of gold. Some say gold is an ancient relic, too old-fashioned to be money anymore. Well, guess what? Now it's paper money that's seen better days. So don't put your family or your future in jeopardy. Convert your paper into gold. Call the professionals, my trusted friends at Swiss America, while you still have time. Protect your standard of living from a rising cost of living with a gold standard.
Well, dozens of men with heavy machinery recently attacked and demolished a Pentecostal church, and police simply stood by and watched.
The assault took place outside Moscow, and it's raising concern religious freedom is fading in Russia. George Thomas has that story.
Sveta Romaniuk finds it difficult to talk about what happened the night of September 6, 2012.
What they did was not right. We didn't even have time to save the Bibles.
On a recent morning on the edge of Moscow, 12-year-old Sveta and a handful of her friends held Sunday school on the steps of what used to be the entrance of their church.
I want the people who did this to know I still love Christ, and I'm going to pray for them in our country.
In the early hours that September morning, about 45 men, backed by local Russian police, descended on Holy Trinity Pentecostal Church. Zitkov Maxim attends the church.
I got here around 4 a.m. and saw two large excavators tearing through the church building. The police just stood there and watched the whole thing.
As word spread, other church members like Elena Maltseva and her husband rushed to try to save the church.
I'll never forget the sound of my church being crushed. It was so painful.
Pastor Vasily Romaniuk also tried to stop the men, but it was too late. This is video of him that night.
When I tried to get into the territory, I was stopped by drunk tough guys who introduced themselves as a vigilant group acting on behalf of the city district. They refused to show their IDs and papers.
By 3 a.m., the three-story building was in ruins.
Unfortunately, what we're seeing today is nothing new. For decades, evangelical Christians in Russia have experienced similar or worse.
Holy Trinity Pentecostal Church became registered in the late 1970s while Soviets still ruled. In 1995, the church was forced out of its original building and moved to this site some 45 minutes outside Moscow. The church erected a temporary building but battled authorities over building permits. Pastor Romaniuk wanted to build a bigger, more permanent structure. Authorities refused. For 17 years, the city even prevented the church access to water and electricity. Then in late August 2012, a district official notified Romaniuk that the church was slated for demolition. The brazen attack stunned the evangelical community. Sergei Rakuba runs a Christian ministry in Moscow.
But they've chosen in front of the entire public, in front of the world, in Moscow, in the largest city in Russia, in the capital, just to simply level the evangelical church, making that statement.
Even though the country's constitution clearly states that all religions are equal before the law, the government is often accused of discriminating against citizens who profess faiths other than Orthodox Christianity.
The government and the Russian Orthodox Church view us, evangelicals, as a threat. They see our congregations growing, they see how dynamic our services are, and they're threatened by it.
Vladimir Raikovsky, a leading human rights lawyer in Moscow, says Holy Trinity's property and legal challenges are just part of an emerging pattern against Russian evangelicals.
Bottom line, this is discrimination. This year alone, the government has given the Russian Orthodox Church 200 building permits, and in many cases, the government will help fund the new churches.
And what evangelicals are most concerned about today is the growing influence of the Russian Orthodox Church within the political system. They accused President Vladimir Putin of tearing down walls between church and state.
Muslims from time to time will face similar challenges in trying to build mosques, but you will never hear of an Orthodox church being bulldozed and ransacked in the middle of the night.
Back on the grounds of Holy Trinity, Romaniuk and the congregation are pressing forward. They're holding weekly services in a large tent next to the demolished church. There are reports the city wants to turn the land into a large sport complex.
I never imagined in my life that I would go through such an experience. But to tell you the truth, I feel emboldened and full of hope thanks to the prayers of Christians around the world.
12-year-old Sveta is also hopeful.
Since this happened, I've been asking God to provide us a new place, a place we can continue to meet and share with others about the love of Christ. I know God will take care of us.
George Thomas, CBN News, Moscow.
Indeed, he will take care of them. He will provide.
I see that and I think of the scripture, beauty for ashes. Beauty is what they've got indeed.
Definitely.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for the Sticky Buddy, the sticky roller that has the power of glue without the goo. Use it on all types of fabrics, even silk and suede, and doesn't leave a sticky residue. Sticky Buddy's little rubber fingers reach deep into your carpet and get things your vacuum cleaner hasn't seen in years. Then when it's full and dirty, just rinse it, dry it, and it's sticky all over again. Cats and dogs will love you even more if you use it as a pet brush. The Sticky Buddy normally sells for $20. It comes with a cover, so it stays nice and clean and has a lifetime guarantee. You'll also get the detail size. Take it with you. It'll be there when you need it. It even has a corner detailer with the same rubber fingers that gets into nooks and crannies. Be one of the first to call, and you'll get both for $10. But order right now, and you can double the value. That's 2 sets of Sticky Buddies for $10.
Call 1-800-601-7204 and pick up your Sticky Buddy. But hurry, call now. We're giving away a special offer and a second set of Sticky Buddies with all orders today. That's 1-800-601-7204. Call now.
How can you get a crispy restaurant tortilla bowl, but without frying it in oil, grease, and fat?
Just do what I do. Hi, Mark Gill here with the perfect tortilla pan. The fast, easy way to shape, bake, and create delicious tortilla bowls. Place any tortilla into the non-stick pan, pop it in the oven, and in just 5 minutes, perfect tortilla bowls that are always golden and crispy. Fill them with steak and peppers for a crunchy fajita bowl. Perfect Tortilla Pan's exclusive design works with all tortilla sizes, forming a deep-shaped edible bowl. Plus, it's all dishwasher safe. We'll send you not 1, but 2 for just $10. Call right this minute and we'll double your order free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Every caller today will receive our cutting cup to slice, dice, chop, mince, and measure as it cuts. Yep, you get it all for just $10.
To order Perfect Tortilla for $10 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-301-7829 or order online at buyperfecttortilla.com.
Finally, today, Operation Blessing is helping thousands make better lives for themselves through micro-enterprise projects.
In Uganda, Operation Blessing has helped a skilled seamstress named Beatrice. She was struggling to provide for her family in the slums of Uganda. Operation Blessing provided her with her own sewing machine and a temporary home until she can afford rent on her own. Her children are fed and taught at a school that Operation Blessing supports. Oh, the smiling face is so beautiful. I tell you,
Operation Blessing is just incredible.
Been able to watch them at work firsthand, and it is just amazing.
The heartbeat of God, and they're moving out in that. I just thank God for them.
Amen.
Thanks. That's going to do it for the CBN News channel. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about right here at cbnnews.com.
Tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Join us again right here next time. Have a great day.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now and Arriva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Arriva today. You'd be glad you did.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary, or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.